Welcome back, ladies and gentlemen, and joining us here tonight in the studio to shed more light on this summit is Dr. Salah Arafa, the Professor of Physics at the School of Sciences and Engineering at the American University in Cairo and member of the Civil Society Egypt. Dr. Arafa, thank you very much for joining us this evening.
It's a pleasure to join you.
Thank you very much, sir. Dr. Arafa, now the World Government Summit that is taking place in Dubai. Now, Prime Minister Mustafa Mdouli is heading an Egyptian delegation there. They spoke about many different things, mainly about the economic challenges the whole world is facing, and also talking about the governmental cooperation between different countries. What is the significance mainly about such a summit? Why are we really paying attention and the world is taking notice of such a great summit?
Well, I want to say that the cooperation between government is necessary, and the debate and the discussion and the dialogue between them is very important, because every country, sir, every country would have some consumptions and productions. And they need always to make a balance somehow. This will never happen before a debate and understanding and cooperation. And this is the main titles that everyone is talking about it in the summit. I just want to say that when we had the idea of the sustainable development, we said we cannot make sustainable development without the cooperation of the government, the private sector, and the civil society.
Yes.
How to do it? That means that we should sit together. We should discuss problems. We should find solutions. We should find responsibilities for solving the problem. And this is exactly the government is trying to do, because no one government would solve the amazing problems that we face economically, socially, as well as environmentally.
Yes. Well, how possible is it to really effectively have and implement such cooperation, keeping in mind that many of the countries participating in such a summit, some are developed countries, some are developing countries, and different countries are facing different challenges, different political situations, everybody is suffering from economic challenges and facing economic challenges, but how feasible is it having these different countries ruled in different systems and different ways, having their own difficulties and different challenges? How are they able, and are on different levels of development, so how are they able to coordinate and implement a proper cooperation mechanism between all of them?
Well, I think it's, the starting point is really the dialogue. And in fact, we can just simply to say for all our viewers and audience, what? Can the poor help the rich? Yes. Save wise, will not steal wise, will keep things clean, will whatever. And to come to the other point, if someone is well educated and someone who can't even read and write, can they help each other? Yes. And when they help each other for the sake of humanity, for the sake of safety, for the sake of what we call it, the security. Sir, it is very, very important that we have the notion of together we can do it.
Dr. Arafa, now Egypt has signed an appendix of a memorandum of understanding that was earlier signed with the United Arab Emirates in 2018. Now they're extending it up until the latter stages of this decade. Now, it really mainly focuses on the cooperation between both governments on the administrative sort of level, how the government can be more efficient within its duties and the tasks. So how can cooperation between countries such as Egypt and the UAE benefit from such an agreement, such a cooperation? Can we implement some of the measures and tasks they're undertaking? Can they learn from us in our tasks or means of how we do our business, governmental work?
You have just said it. It is very, very important for the two governments to sit together, to discuss problems, and to exchange experiences, one. Second, I think extending the cooperation would help, in many cases, would help both countries in a way of settling the what we sometimes call it good planning.
Mm-hmm.
Well, you might have a good idea, but you don't have the experience of how to plan it. And this is in the government. Sometimes you have very important idea, but you can't plan it because there is no the science behind it, mm-hmm. or the science with it. And in fact, in many cases, you really need this cooperation of those who have and those who have not.
Mm-hmm.
Those who have the knowledge and those who have not. Those who are developing and those who are developed already. And this is for the general safety. Because if you have in a community, even in the same community, the same government, mm-hmm. a group of people who is not aware of what is going on, mm-hmm. in terms of carbon dioxide and whatever you name it, it's very dangerous. To me as a human, to the government as a government, to the nation as a nation. Why? Because there is no such a dialogue or such a connection. And I'm really very, very happy to see this type of cooperation, because it is not only to have the cooperation between the different entities within a country, but the different entities between countries. Mm-hmm. And I would really hope that the people who are really gathering in the summit would also find a way to have this cooperation among NGOs in different countries and private sector in different countries, because they alone cannot solve it completely, but we together can do it.
So now, the theme of the summit was always shaping future governments, and they held sessions and they were talking extensively about the implementation and the use of advanced technology and artificial intelligence within the governmental work. Now, it is understood that this is the new approach, all, not just governments, but all aspects and walks of life will be tackling. Now, how can this be beneficial to governments around the world, having this sort of unified vision or implementing advanced technology and artificial intelligence within their planning, as you've mentioned, and the taking care of all the government work?
Well, if you really see the technology that's used today, there is sometimes lack of awareness. How to use it? Is it beneficial? Is it safety? Is it healthy? Whatever. And in most cases, it needs with it this comprehensive approach. Mm-hmm. Why? because you cannot really have this advantage of using a technology without having people aware of the benefit and the best use of it. And I'm really so happy. I just came from a meeting with a group of NGOs from different places, and we were talking, or I was talking about the benefits and the drawbacks of using your mobile, not your,
Yes.
but of using the mobile. Well, the mobile is necessary, it's important, we have to have it. We need everyone who is poor or rich or whatever can have the access to it, because it gives you knowledge, it gives you whatever. Okay, but there are limits to these uses of these technologies. And please, I would immediately say, please, to everyone who would listen to us or watching us, that avoid using the mobile or the laptop close to three things: the head, this part, and this part. Because this is, everyone is using, I mean, you have your, and these are the most sensitive for drawbacks and for illness that is impossible to save from the long time use of in these places. And of course, a part of the problem is our children going to sleep and have under the pillow the mobile. I would say it, no one would understand it, whatever level of education, but only people who have experience with radiation and experience with science and technology. And I have the pleasure of being working in the atomic energy in Shas long time ago, and in the American University in the science and technology. And this is really a warning, and please minimize it to the point, and if you want to have it 10 centimeter at least from these three places.
Yes.
You can have it on a window like that, you can have it like that, and if you put it somewhere, don't put it here, don't put it here, don't put it on my bag.
Well, Dr. Arafa, now you're a professor of physics in the School of Sciences and Engineering, and you're very much in touch with the advanced technologies and the developing technologies. Now, do you see prospects of applying these sciences and this artificial intelligence and advanced technologies in our governmental work, the administration of the governments and how they work and how the planning should be for a government for a country such as Egypt?
Well, I think it is very, very important that to get the right and easy communication. The right and easy communication. But of course, when you really have this technology that I can call anyone, anywhere, any time, but you have, or we have to teach the people how to make the sort of organization. I'm sitting here receiving calls from different people asking for different requests. How to organize it? How to dissipate it to the people who can carry out? These are the management that we lack. So we can have the technology, we can have the people who know how to use it, but we don't have the organization. And we can have the organization of saying, if I get a call about electricity cut, I will send it to you. If we have a call for a water drainage somewhere, we'll give it to Ahmed. This is the organization. And usually, sir, we are really saying important is we need to think, but we need to discuss, but without planning and good implementation and good evaluation and good development. These are connections. And sometimes we do a perfect one because this is my responsibility and I don't care about the rest. No, everyone has a responsibility, and if we can participate with a good responsibility and share with a good effectiveness, I think we will reach what we are planning for.
Dr. Arafa, you're a member of the Civil Society Egypt organization now. In line of your participation and your membership of such a civil society organization now, what would you hope for in terms of civil society organizations in dealing with the government, and do you see other civil society organizations from around the world dealing with their government in a different way? The relationship between NGOs and civil society organizations with their respective governments in each and every country, do you see some sort of a prospect of cooperation or an adaptation or development in the kind of relationship between both?
I think it is necessary, and thank you for raising this point. We have made a beautiful vision of the cooperation between government, private sector, and NGO, but how to do it right. One of the things that we are working with, and I'm very happy to tell you because you have raised a very important question, is the point of transfer of knowledge. Okay, in the university, I invited a good professor to tell me how to conserve water for irrigation. But not for me. I'm not planting. But the farmer who needs to know this information. So we are now working as a group of volunteers, NGOs.
Yes.
We need the help of the government by saying, welcome, come to this government, we'll collect you some of the people to listen to you without paying money. But to use this type of cooperation and this type of investment that we really need to have to reach out to the end users. These are the NGOs can do it. But what and from where we can get the knowledge, you have the research centers and universities and so on. And I was so proud that in the university that I'm working with, we had for even 14 years a sort of one day to make a dialogue between NGOs in the country as a whole from different governors and the university students and professors. Why? One day, come, show us what you are doing and so on, because this is really the way to start a dialogue and to find out a cooperation that it can be done easily, and it is important to really have that type of cooperation when we speak about dialogue. Well, I started 50 years ago with a village in Sharqiya, governed by a way of a dialogue, but between me and the living participant of the community.
Yes.
So we need to have community dialogue. And I just want to tell you that outside, in many countries, I have been there, we have what we call it the whole center of the town, where anyone who have idea anyone who have a new project, a new industry, he would make the propaganda, not a propaganda, but to tell the people that we are going that we need your help. That is the cooperation we need and the understanding we need to really make the development that's needed.
Well, the Prime Minister Mustafa Madbouli actually met the International Monetary Fund Managing Director Kristalina Georgieva, and he spoke about the economic challenges the whole world is facing, and Egypt as well, and Egypt is going through its own economic reform program. And he emphasized the relationship and the cooperation between the government or the public sector and the private sector, with the participation of civil society and NGOs, as you've mentioned. Now, the relationship between those three, let's say, factors or main players, are they on equal footing from each other? Is the distance clearer and shorter and more direct between the public sector and the private sector, and maybe the civil society organizations are a bit further than those two, or are they on equal footing, or is it beneficial to have some variable distances between the three of them, the situation in Egypt and other countries as well? What should it be like, and how far are we from reaching the optimum kind of relationship between the three?
Thank you for raising a very important issue, and I think sometimes we forget things that we have already in the planning of bigger things. And I can tell you, okay, if you have something that's public means that, let me take a very important idea that we had 50 years ago. We need to apply solar energy in this community. Oh, it's too expensive. Thank you. Finito. We are not going to use it. But we forgot that there is a system, and working system. It needs cooperation, it needs discussion, it needs what is what we call it, the cooperatives. And cooperatives have different ways. The water wheel in the village is a cooperative system. Someone have digged, someone have used, and I'm using my animal, but the whole thing, I paid part of it. That's a cooperation that can make the wealth of the country and of the community. Now, if you really say that I would need to help a community to use solar energy instead of the CO2 and all the things that we are fighting, how to do it? Well, I need the private sector who will give me the equipment to say, I can give it not to someone, but I can give it to NGO as an organization, and they can help and guarantee the payback and so on. Second, that the person who would need to make a project and who cannot afford the money, what he needs? Someone to give him a loan, easy payment, and instead of flats with millions, I would need to have a faddan or 2 or 3 planted to food, to eat, but to give a loan and wait for it. This system is very, very important to have the cooperation between the government, because I think when you say to anyone, oh, but Bank Masr and Bank whatever, the name, they have a system of giving loans to small projects and so on. Okay, but if I go to them, they tell me I need 2 very official people with signature and so on, and they can guarantee the payback. I don't have. I don't know. Finito. But if we can really have, and this is exactly what we did in the village that I've been working with, is not only to make a loans of 1,000 or few thousand. No, we can make new communities. We can help the country for really moving out to the desert. We can help the country for taking the small people, the farmers, with loans, with work to settle and to produce and to do something good for the country. We need it. It's very, very important that you have the, I would say, the local government to sit with the local NGOs, to sit with the local industries. Second, if you have in any of the universities have made a plan that the students, the children of our future can see some industries and think of this future that technology can make, we don't do it. And you can ask friends and so on. Our children are not aware of what to do for their future as well as to do for the future of the country.
Yes. Well, ladies and gentlemen, talking about expenses, it has been disclosed at the World Government Summit 2024 in Dubai that $17 trillion have been spent on war alone for the year 2023. Let's check out this report and we'll be right back.